Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and iPhone 15 and iOS 17 are just about a month or so away. We'll talk about both of those, the iPhone 15, what we know about it, when we expect the event date to be, and much more. This is your weekly Apple News update for the week of August 6th, 2023. Now, Apple Pay is coming to Chile this week. This is according to a local newspaper in Chile, so that should be available as soon as tomorrow, according to that newspaper. So if you have Apple Wallet, go into that. You may have the option for Apple Pay. If you don't have cards already set up in there, set one up, and if your bank supports it or your card supports it, you should have that option as soon as tomorrow. Apple had their earnings call this past week. I'll link it in the description, but you can listen on their website. And for the third quarter, they made $81.8 billion in revenue and had $19.9 billion in profit. That's actually down a little bit year over year. Apple has also said they're seeing a slowdown in the smartphone market in general as sales have been down over the past couple of quarters in the USA. There's been others suggesting that iPhone 15 will actually have less demand than previous generations of iPhone, but we'll have to see if that's the case after it's announced. Tim Cook also said that most iPhones are bought on some sort of a program and not bought outright. So most people are financing them, at least in the United States, or buying them on some sort of carrier program where they can upgrade every year. Tim Cook also said he uses the Apple Vision Pro every single day. And Apple Vision Pro is something that seems to be sort of looked forward to by a lot of people, but many people are skeptical about it. Apple recently held developer labs for upcoming Apple Vision Pro headsets, but apparently not many attended. Now, this could be due to either a lack of interest or that Apple only offered it in Cupertino in the USA and select cities around the world. It was hard to get to, and maybe it wasn't worth it if you're not sure if you should develop an app to fly all the way over to California if you're on the East Coast and spend the money to stay in a hotel and go to those conferences. So I'm curious what you think about Apple Vision Pro, though, in the comments below. MacBooks and iPads imported into India now require a license, according to a new policy announced the other day in India. This doesn't just affect Macs, but others as well. Both Apple and Samsung have actually responded and halted all imports to India temporarily. Now, this may be part of India's policy to try and build things in their country more and more, and so maybe that will happen as Apple's building iPhones and other products in India, but they may have to work with India to get different licenses so that they can sell those there now. Now, Apple is actually selling refurbished AirPods 3 for the first time. If you want AirPods 3 refurbished, you can get them for $149. However, they're for sale from Apple on Amazon directly at $159, so you may want to just buy them new for about $10 more. But we could see AirPods 4 this fall, so we'll have to wait and see as far as the event goes, but we could see new ones soon, and maybe that's why they're selling them refurbished. Also, AirPods Pro 2 are on sale still for $199, and the new MacBook Air 15 is up to $200 off. I'll link that in the description below if you want to check it out. Also, something else I'll link is from today's sponsor, CaseCoo. This is the CaseCoo Magic Stand case. It comes in clear, space black, and there are new clear purple and clear black cases too. It's a protective case that adds grip and looks great, and it also has raised bezels around the screen and camera, but also has a hidden stand built in. The stand allows for a 40 to 120 degree angle and has a magnet in the ring of the stand that supports MagSafe accessories and charging. And CaseCoo is having a 3-day flash sales event with up to 40% off within the first hour of the sale and 25% off select products throughout the day. I'll link them in the description along with a discount code if you want to check them out. Now, as far as the iPhone event that we're expecting in a month or so, it seems like it's going to be on the 13th or the 12th. And the reason I say that is there was a recent leak about that. However, Apple typically does not have events on Wednesdays, so normally it's on a Tuesday, and I would think the 12th is more likely. Either way, I would highly suspect it would be available that week, with the iPhone going for pre-order that Friday on the 15th, and then up for sale the next week on the 22nd. That seems the most likely. Also, iOS 17 would be on the following week as well, typically that Monday. Usually around the 18th or 19th, we would see the final release of iOS 17 released to the public. That's typically what we expect with every event. And so at that event, we expect a couple different things. We expect the iPhone 15 launch. We also expect an Apple Watch Ultra 2, Apple Watch Series 9, possibly AirPods 4, and maybe some surprises as well. However, it seems that it's just going to be an iPhone event, an Apple Watch event. Then maybe we'll have a Mac event later on in October. We've seen that many years, year over year. Now, as far as the next updates, we expect iOS 17 Beta 5 as soon as tomorrow. Typically, Apple releases it around the 8th. 8th. They released it on the 8th last year with iOS 16 Beta 5. I would expect that along with iOS 17 Public Beta 3 this week, unless there's a problem. Then we could see it the following week like we had last time. However, typically when we have iOS Beta 5, a Beta 5 version usually means we'll have weekly releases after that. So we could have a couple more releases, maybe Beta 7, maybe Beta 8, and then a final release within a couple weeks after that. So we're getting close to the final release. iOS 17 is being more and more refined and seems to be a very stable update. It's not without its problems, but it's still in beta. But of course, I'll have updates about that as well. Now, before we talk about iPhone, let's first talk about Apple Watch. Apple is expected to introduce an Apple Watch Series 9 that won't be too different. We'll have a similar design, but maybe an upgraded chip with a new S9 system on a chip, or SoC. Also, Apple Watch Ultra is expected to be offered in a new black titanium, according to leaker Shrimp Apple Pro. It would have the exact same design as we have now, but just have a black option with maybe a new updated chip inside. Other than that, we're not expecting any major changes here. When it comes to iPhone 15, we're expecting 4 new models this year. These are just models I've shown before in different videos, but basically we're expecting an iPhone 15, an iPhone 15 Plus, iPhone 15 Pro, and iPhone 15 Pro Max. Some have suggested that it may be called iPhone 15 Ultra. We don't know 100%. Apple sometimes changes this at the last minute. However, they are already manufacturing these, so it's most likely already set, and it's probably Pro Max, but we don't know 100%. We are expecting a price increase this year for the Pro models. The base models are expected to be the same at $799 and $899 to start in the USA, and the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max models are expected to get at least a $100 price increase, maybe from $1,099 to $1,299 to start, depending on who you ask. We're also expecting a new blue color. Some had rumored that it would be a red color. We could see either one. We've heard orange in the past, but right now we don't know until they announce it, as Apple sort of keeps that pretty close, and it seems that they don't really know 100%, but most leakers are actually saying to expect sort of a light blue color, as you've seen already here. So that's sort of what this could look like. We don't know 100%, but that seems highly likely. As far as the overall design, we're expecting a very similar design. However, it's a little bit more rounded, and I've shown this in different videos where it rounds across the frame over onto the glass. So it's a little nicer to hold in your hand. We're expecting titanium frames on the 15 Pro and Pro Max models, along with a new action button that could be programmed. I've shown this, that it's been found in the code by Steve Mojan, and you could press this button and have it programmed just like the Apple Watch Ultra. So you'd be able to select something instead of just having it as a switch that silences the phone. Of course, everything else is fairly similar with the exception of USB-C. We're expecting USB-C to take place of Lightning this time around. This is to comply with different laws in the EU and makes sense. We need that for faster data transfer, as Apple never really bumped the speed on the Lightning as far as transferring data. And with features such as ProRes and ProRAW, moving large files off of the phone can take a long time, especially if you're recording video. Now, we're also expecting new processors in the Pro models. A new A17 Bionic for Pro models, built on a 3nm process, which could reduce size and increase efficiency, up to 8 GB of RAM this time around, and Wi-Fi 6E, according to many different that have seen the A17 Bionic chips. So that makes sense, brings it up to the current standard. We're also hearing a few questionable rumors saying that the iPhone 15 Pro models will start at 256 gigs of storage and offer up to 2 terabytes of storage. Now, again, that makes sense if you're recording ProRes as far as the camera is concerned, as that takes up a huge amount of storage, and you'd be able to offload those video files using USB-C. So that would make sense, although that would be very expensive, probably close to $2,000 if they do actually offer that. Now, the display this time around, we expect some changes. All of them are expected to have the dynamic island, so every single model. We're also expecting smaller bezels. This was first shown by Unknowns21 in Shrimp Apple Pro, where it would have thinner bezels, and recent renders by Ian Zelbo on 9to5Mac show them next to previous models. So they've been thinning out the bezels over time. It's really nice on a phone since you have a place to grip the phone on the sides and then see the smaller bezels here. So I would love to see that, and it gives us more screen real estate as well. Also, we're expecting bigger batteries. Now, this may or may not come to the iPhone 15 models, but with a smaller CPU in the Pro models, maybe being the 3nm process, An update of components there as well make room for a larger battery. However, the new stacked battery technology that was rumored for iPhone 15 is apparently destined for the iPhone 16 models instead. Also, the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus are said to be getting the matte finish that we've had on the Pro models for quite some time, with the frosted glass on the back. This would be great. It eliminates fingerprints, makes things look better. I would just love to see that on the Pro models where we have the frosted aluminum or sort of anodized aluminum look instead of the shiny steel. Maybe that's what they're doing with titanium. One other thing we've been hearing is that the overall design will make it easier to repair. Since they're updating the design, it's said to be more like that of the iPhone 4 and 4S models, where you can unscrew both of the screws at the bottom and simply slide off the back to service components inside, such as the battery. It would make it much easier to change the battery out if you needed to. Maybe after a year and a half, you need to replace the battery. You could just swap it much more easily on your own, having that option. The front screen, of course, would be the same. Hopefully it won't be assembled like the iPhone 4 where you have to take out everything to get to the display. But maybe they'll have it you slide off the back, easily remove the front, and it will just be more repairable and long-term overall. Now, one bit of news I think a lot of people won't be happy about is that it's said to have eSIM options in more countries, where they would get rid of the physical SIM card in a lot of countries. We had that last year with the iPhone 14 models, and while it wasn't terrible switching back and forth between models, you basically just hit a button in software and it moves over the SIM card. I like the physical SIM card so I can quickly switch to a different phone. Apparently they're getting rid of that in more countries this year. The cameras are also expected to get a major upgrade this year, especially on the Pro Max models, where it's expected to have a periscope zoom lens like we've seen on other manufacturers such as Samsung. So it would be a lens that's sort of sideways with a sensor over here, and then it uses mirrors to give you more zoom range. That's something we expect to be upgraded, along with maybe a larger aperture on the main sensor of the camera for the Pro models, allowing more light in. Also, the regular 15 models are said to be getting an upgrade where they would have upgraded 48 megapixel sensors. We don't know that 100%, but it makes sense that they would bring last year's sensors into the current phones this year on the base models. Additionally, Majin Buu on Twitter has shown some new iPhone 15 case clones that are already ready in China, with what's probably likely to be the color options available and the overall design layout, showing the action button and more on the side. So we see these every year before the launch of the iPhone 15, since they're well underway, making millions of them, getting them ready for the launch. It makes sense that we're starting to see cases roll out already that are made by other manufacturers. So that's something we're already seeing. Now, iPhone 16 is expected to have major camera upgrades with stacked sensor technology, according to Ming-Chi Kuo. So we will get an upgrade this year, but it will be a major upgrade next year, according to recent leaks. Apple is also working on an updated iPad mini, according to Shrimp Apple Pro. He said he believes there's an iPad mini 7th gen in the works, and that would replace this current one. Many people love this size iPad. Personally, it's a little bit too small for me. I prefer the huge iPad, 12.9, and I could even go for a larger one, maybe 14 inches. But I know people absolutely love this as a notebook, something to read notes off of, and just use in everyday use. So let me know if you'd like to see a new iPad mini soon as well, but that seems like that would be for next year. Apple is also testing M3 chipsets in their Macs. That could be for upcoming Mac Mini updates, as well as maybe a new iMac. We still haven't seen an updated iMac for some reason, and we're waiting to see that. So lots of things to look forward to, but I can't believe we're just about a month away or so from iOS 17 and iPhone 15. Will you be upgrading to iPhone 15 this year? Let me know in the comments below. I'll link this wallpaper in the description like I normally do, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.